Hello and welcome to another episode of Film Freaks with a Z at the end, the podcast all about movies. Each episode is about a singular movie, and we'll get to this episode's movie in a little bit. Thank you to everyone who voted in the fan vote. That's right, we do have a winner, which will be revealed at the end of the show. So stay tuned for that, if anything. But if you want to get your movie on the next fan vote, go ahead and jump over to either the YouTube channel, the Yemmy the Ferret YouTube channel, and comment on the latest episode of Film Freaks with a Z with your movie recommendation, or send us an email at ff.filmfreakswithaz at the end at gmail.com. Or you can come over to the Ferret Nation Discord server and talk in the movie stuff section and recommend a movie there if you so desire. Let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. I am Yemmy the Ferret. Who am I here with?
Grady Waffles.
Taymation.
And Kalis. I'm continuing the Kalis.
He's continuing the Kalis.
Yes.
Kalis. All right. Not just. But it is just Kalis.
Just. Pretty much.
Don't call him just Kalis. Call him just Kalis.
There you go.
Speaking of Kalis, he recommended a movie for us.
Yes. But before I introduce the movie, I have a question for all of you. What do you think of the Lord of the Rings TV show trailer? I'm assuming you all watched it.
I did.
I don't know. I think I saw part of it.
Are we excited for that?
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm
Right
reserving
now,
judgment
no.
until I see like the first episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
what they showed is just like quick flashes of stuff, but it didn't like pop out to me as it's like good or bad, you know.
Apparently, it's like the biggest budget that any like TV show has ever had before.
If that means that they're having a bunch of CGI in there, then that might bring it down. I mean, we all know what happened to the Hobbit trilogy, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I'm going in with a neutral stance. That's that.
Yeah, I will reserve judgment.
Yeah. No need to get our hopes up. High expectations. Keep them low and steady.
But not too low.
So, yeah, not too low. So, the movie I recommended is The Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King, released in 2003, directed by Peter Jackson. It stars Elijah Wood, Viggo Mortensen, Ian McKellen, Orlando Bloom, John Rhys Meyers. That's his name, right?
Yeah.
Sean Astin, Kate Blanchett, a bunch of other people. So, plot goes: Gandalf and Aragorn lead the world of men against Sauron's army to draw his gaze from Frodo and Sam as they approach Mount Doom with the One Ring. So, I would like to start off the conversation with the opening scene with Gollum. What do you guys think of that whole flashback scene of him transforming into Gollum?
Yeah, you mean Smeagol turning? Yeah,
Smeagol into Gollum, yeah.
Well, that's good.
Okay, I did watch the extended version this time, and I know that scene was one of the extended stuff.
Oh, so that's not on the regular movie?
it is on the regular.
Okay.
Like there's a bunch of there's stuff in there that's not in the regular. I thought.
Oh, okay.
Like
Probably.
I mean, so okay, let's get this. I'll start with this. I watched the theatrical version for you guys so that we can kind of have a
Thank you.
baseline. And there is like I don't know if it's extended, but you know the Smeagol stuff is the opening of the movie.
Yes.
And it kind of goes over the
Do
gist
remember
of it. It's kind of weird because like throughout the other two movies they kind of set up that you know Gollum or Smeagol was the one who found the ring initially, but it's actually his soon-to-be dead friend.
Eagle.
Yeah, well, then, like, the first movie, they showed his hand reaching the ring, but they didn't show whose hand it was.
Yep. And
Yeah, I guess it was just kind of like assumed that he was the one who found it.
Yeah. But yeah, I
Um,
do like the kind of like the faces in between Smeagol and Gollum, like from human into like full CGI creature. I do like all the in between faces that they showed. I thought that was like a very well done transformation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does a good job in the beginning of the movie, like setting the tone for Gollum. Like the past couple movies, Gollum was like, like, all right, I'm gonna lead them. Yeah, there was a few clips of here and there where he's like, yeah, I'm gonna still lead them, but I think more heavier in this movie it was Gollum's mojo was, yeah, I'm gonna kill you.
Well, yeah, I mean, he wanted to kill them during Two Towers as well.
Well, there was a point where he had determined not to kill him, and then the whole betrayal happened, and then he went back.
Yeah, so I mean, I would say it's been pretty consistent that he's wanted to.
Yeah.
He's
felt
had
like
more
it was
time
more-
wanting. He's had more time wanting to kill them than not, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it was more, but maybe it was just the execution this time. I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely more sinister in the Return of the King, right? Like, Gollum is definitely more of a threat in this movie than he was in the Two Towers and Fellowship of the Ring, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. With this movie, he actually started manipulating them, like playing mind tricks on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess that's like, I mean, the parts with Gollum are really some of the best parts in the movie. I mean, the effects actually, they look better than Two Towers. You can't tell that he's a completely CGI monster in every single scene. And there was something that really stood out to me personally. I mean, I know Tay goes over these movies with a fine tooth comb, but there wasn't anything like too egregious that stood out to me this time around. Like last episode, I was talking about how there's one scene where Gollum you can tell he's superimposed over the rocks or whatever, but in this one, it really did blend really well together with the environment.
Yeah, no, they did a good job with Gollum this one. I didn't notice anything stand out. There were a few green screens they used for the hobbits that I noticed, but
Yeah, especially when he was riding the horse. It was bad.
Yeah, the one that stood out to me, I think they were like standing in a crowd of people and everyone was kind of walking
Yes.
around them. That one was
Yes.
pretty obvious.
yeah, there was like 2 or 3 scenes like that where the tall person went from behind them to in front of them that they couldn't use perspective tricks, so they used green screen, and yeah, they stood out.
There was one scene like when they were standing in front of the black gates, where they showed kind of I don't know if it was Merry or Pippin, but they showed them at a distance, and to me it clearly looked like a child. Like it did not look like either of them.
Could have been.
So it was a very quick scene.
There
Yeah,
was
I mean that
one
was probably just one of their doubles.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
There
I
was
felt,
Usually,
I felt like I
No, so
noticed
you-
the doubles a little bit more in this movie than in the other two.
yeah. Well, because the other ones, usually the doubles were just used in like really far away shots, so you definitely couldn't see. But there was a few shots in here that the doubles were like close enough that you could kind of see their faces and stuff. You go, wait a second, that's not the same person.
All right, well, I guess that's enough nitpicking for today.
Well, Greedy, you were going to say something. What you have in your mind?
Oh, the one scene where the Rohan people were leaving camp and Lady Elwyn picks up Mary, right?
Yep,
No,
Mary.
Yeah, Mary. And he's like riding the horse and he's like, my lady. And then you just like the background it was a little rough.
Yeah, I noticed
That
some
was the
scenes
ones-
there.
that one scene was the one that stood out to me.
Yeah, it is kind of nitpicking, but
For sure.
it doesn't really detract from the experience altogether.
Oh,
Because it's still a pretty high quality movie, and those scenes where you do notice like the green screen stuff, it's like a couple seconds, not even, of like that scene, kind of flashes pretty fast.
and back when this movie came out, people probably didn't even notice.
Yeah, I mean I wouldn't have noticed without Tay pointing it out in the last 2 episodes, so I blame Tay.
That's what I'm
Blame
here
tape.
for.
One thing I did want to bring up that I noticed Tay also called out is Smeagol when his eyes contract and go large, but talking between the 2 different versions of him.
I
think
believe
someone pointed that out.
That was Callus.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
Callus? Oh, I'm sorry.
That was Callus. Yeah.
Or no, Kalis. It was Kalis.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
Callus.
Yeah.
See, that's why I was confused. Okay.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I mean everything with Gollum was spectacular in the movie. I mean, from his manipulation to the ending, I think that like he was probably Andy Serkis did like his best performance of Gollum ever in this one.
Oh, I think we found Yemmy's waifu for this movie.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember. Did Andy Serkis do the first Hobbit movie? I would think so.
Yeah, he did.
Because that was also really, really good. But I mean, this movie has like a whole, he's in the whole thing, and it's just, I mean, compared to like the Two Towers, I just feel like this performance for Gollum was like just the best, and I think that Gollum was like the best acted character in the movie, even though everyone did a good job. Again, I felt like Gollum was just like that standout performance. That's like I would give this man an Oscar if it was up to me.
Did he win an Oscar? I thought he did.
I think he got one for Planet of the Apes or something.
Swore he got some for Lord of the Rings, but I don't know for sure.
Let's also, since we're talking about Gollum, let's talk about like makeup and like clothing, like all the just the way the orcs were dressed up and like just all the costumes, like those were spot on too. Like makeup work. I know we said it in previous movies, but definitely like I felt like the orcs were trying to be more like of a scarier, creepier than like the Urk guys. But I don't know. I thought it was outstanding. All the clothes work as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the orcs were really well done. There's the one orc that like the orc and the Uruk that differentiate them, who are like messing around with Frodo's stuff after he gets captured in the tower. And I mean that one guy who has like the war paint on him and stuff. I felt like he was really well done, because he was in more than just a couple of scenes. They had that makeup on for a while.
What do you guys think of like the orc? I don't know if he was an orc, but like the guy that was commanding the army, like in front of Minas Tirith, the guy with the warped face and the hand.
Ortmog?
Yeah. Oh, he was
if
he
that
was a
was
pretty
his name.
threatening kind of guy, because they first originally show him in that Osgiliath raid that the orcs do, and he stabs that Faramir's friend or whatever, who's on the ground, and yeah, that's a pretty brutal scene. I think they did a good job with him. I wish that they had shown like his death or something in the movie itself.
They do in the extended, but not in the regular.
Yeah.
Oh, they don't show it on the regular?
Nope.
No. In the theatrical version, the Rohan soldiers, or the Rohirrim, I should call them, they trample the orc line, and you don't actually see him die. I mean, you kind of know that he died since he doesn't show up later in the movie when his second in command is waiting for the wild men or whatever, whoever they are, to come off the boats. What are they called? The Crosshairs or something. So it's inferred that he's dead, but they don't actually show it in the theatrical version, which I think they probably should have, since he was, I mean, comparatively, he was like a Lurch type character that was a major character in the movie.
Yeah, I was going to bring this up. Like there were like, as I said in the Two Towers, I think this is the best, like out of the three of them, like the best extended version. And there's a lot of scenes that are important in here that they didn't show. Like, I mean, I guess I should say most of them right now. Them breaking into Minas Tirith, like the actual like battering ram.
Yeah, that's shown
in the regular. No, like well, yeah, it's shown, but it doesn't like. There's like
no, they show it like breaking through the door. Then the doors open. The trolls come in.
No. There's Orthmog that he's like talking to the guys as they're like breaking in, and he's like they're like planning their attack. There's a whole nother scene, separate scene.
I don't know if that's like super important though.
Okay, but
because they show the main action of the battering ram breaking through the door, so I don't know if like a few lines of dialogue between the commander and his soldiers is like is really going to detract from the movie too much.
I thought it was cool.
I mean, yeah, it's some extra dialogue, and I don't know if it's like
death. And then the mouth of Saruman. I'm surprised that wasn't in the theatrical either.
Yeah, that's the one scene that I wish they had kept in the theatrical, was the mouth of Sauron, and then Aragorn just chops his head off mid-sentence. Yeah. That's such a badass scene, and I am wondering why they took that out of the theatriral version.
And same with Sauron's not even in the theatrical?
He's not even in it, no.
Wow,
and then
I forgot about that.
Gandalf facing off against the Witch King as well.
Yeah, that's another important one. You know, I feel like that definitely should have been in there.
I can see why
it's
they
been
didn't, because technically Gandalf would not have lost that fight.
Yeah.
I saw a video about it. Like someone asked the question for some guy who was a big buff on Lord of the Rings, like and all stuff, and he's like, yeah, no, Gandalf would not have lost that fight.
well, I mean, he kind of didn't get to finish the fight because he flew away.
Yeah,
Just the Rohan people came.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I guess
I
he
feel
did,
like
yeah.
we're too far into the movie. I feel like there's a lot more
Yeah.
we still haven't talked
Well,
about leading into this.
Oh.
let's backtrack to in the extended version, Sauron and Grima. I learned how to say his name now.
I
Grima.
appreciate
Grima. They both die in the extended version, but in the theatrical version, they're just kind of locked in the tower and you don't hear from them again. Personally, and I know you guys are probably going to disagree, I'm happier with the theatrical version, like not having the crazy death that they gave Saruman in the extended version. Like he gets stabbed in the back and then he falls off and then he lands on the spike on the wheel and then he gets drowned in the water as the wheel moves. And I'm
Stabbed, impaled, and drowned.
yeah, and I'm watching it. I'm like, this is just ridiculous. So I'm happy that they didn't show that in the theatrical version personally, because I feel like that just kind of like it was way too much. Like maybe they could have shown Saruman and Grima talking to them for a little bit, but then don't do like the whole betrayal from Grima and Saruman dying part. I feel like they should have shown the staff of Saruman breaking, and then he should have like hunkered back and just that would have been it. I think I would have been happy with that, but I'm even more happy with the theatrical version because it's like I really don't need to see that brutal death of Saruman. It's a little bit over the top,
Yeah. Well, in the book, Saruman doesn't die there. So, in the theatrical version, I remember seeing that theatrical version, going like, "Oh, okay, cool. We didn't see him die or anything, so he's going to show up again later." And then he never does.
Yeah.
So the only reason I like the extended version is just because we get to see Saruman again, which I appreciate because Christopher Lee does a great job. But
Yeah, like I said, it would have been
yeah.
great to just show like Gandalf talking to him, and his staff breaks after he tries to do that magic fireball thing with Gandalf, and then he hunkers back, and that's it. I feel like that would have been the best version of it.
Yeah, so I think in the books his staff actually breaks earlier, and that's why he's not able to fight back against the Ents.
Interesting.
That would have made sense.
That would have made sense.
My Two Towers still is like, why couldn't Saruman fight? But
Yeah, he just sat there going, "Oh no!" But anyways, we talked about that last episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think his staff broke when Gandalf got him away from Rohan King Theoden. I think, I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure his staff was broken before the Ents showed up.
Yeah, that would make more sense for that sequence of events.
now,
But
did
that's Two Towers.
Did him losing his little ball thing also hinder his powers as well?
Well,
If I recall correctly, Gandalf's like he's powerless without it. And then
he still had it in the extended version. It falls out of his cloak. So he technically did have it throughout the entire Ent fight as well. In the theatrical version, it's just kind of in the water. So
yeah, all that does is lets him communicate with Sauron and see where anyone who has one of those stones. It's a telephone.
Greedy,
So
you
that's
played
not in the-
Battlefield
Magic
Earth.
telephone.
The Plantier just kind of reveals land in the video game Battlefield Earth. So
That's all it does.
yeah.
Actually, it's funny that you bring that game up because there are some powers, like the fireball that Saruman can do in Battlefield Earth. I'm like, oh, that's how they got that power.
Yeah. So
So wait, the ball's not in the theatrical version at all?
it isn't because Pippin has to touch it, So if Pippin just finds it in the water, it doesn't. It's not. It's already fallen out of the tower
Oh.
somehow.
Yeah.
I see.
Which didn't make sense in the theatrical version, like how it fell down. Like they never really.
Yeah, they never
Explain
showed it.
it.
It's just like,
But-
it happens.
I don't have a big problem with that. I mean, it could have
Yeah.
fallen out whenever, the Ents were, throwing rocks at it or whatever. I mean, that flooded water. I mean, that must have rocked the tower pretty hard. Um, yeah. I mean, Greedy and Callus, what do you think of the extended version of Saruman's brutal death?
It was. I agree with you. It was like overly brutal. I
Forgot, like,
was.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I was watching it with my family, and like even my mom was like, oh my god, like even she was like overly surprised over like the brutality of that scene. So
Yeah,
what were you gonna say?
we could have had without the, him falling on the spike. I mean, I would have been okay with Wormtongue just stabbing him and him falling. Yeah, okay, whatever. But him like falling on that spear, you're like, oh damn.
I'm not sure. I don't understand Legolas shooting Grima with the arrow.
Yeah, I was just about to
Yeah.
say that. It's like
They
he's clearly just shown he's broken his allegiance, and Theoden said you could come back, be one of us again, and then Legolas, oh no.
Yeah.
you think fuck that shit.
Maybe because they were trying to save Saruman because they didn't.
I think they
Gandalf
were a
say he
little
needed
bit.
him.
Yeah.
So
Right.
here's some trivia that you guys may know. When Christopher Lee was doing that scene with Grima, um, I guess Peter Jackson had directed him to like make a loud yelling noise and all that stuff, like the flailing. And Christopher Lee, who served in World War One, I believe,
Oh wow.
he actually got stabbed in the back in real life, and he straight up told Peter Jackson, he was like, "That's not that that doesn't have your breath gets taken away from you. You don't yelp or anything like that." Like apparently he had done like he got stabbed in the back, and he'd also done like covert missions where he stabbed people in the back, and that's why when he gets stabbed in the back as Saruman, he doesn't really make any noise. He just kind of goes and then falls over.
Interesting.
I didn't even notice.
Christopher Lee is like the only person in the cast who's actually met J.R. Tolkien before he died.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
All right, where to next, boys?
We should. Well, I guess we're not. Forward. What happens next?
So,
They go and sleep, and Mary becomes stupid again.
Oh yeah.
Should we talk about
Pippin
when
becomes stupid again.
Oh, Pippin, yeah. Pippin.
Pippin, the way I look at it is that the Palantir can be very intoxicating, especially since Sauron's pretty much controlling them. So
Just like the
I
ring?
figured, yeah, it's like the ring. He touched it, and so he's just like, I gotta touch that thing again.
Oh,
Yeah.
another scene that's only in the extended is Aragorn challenging the Eye of Sauron, the Palantir. Or no, that's a different scene. Never mind. Something else.
Yeah.
I've actually done a bit of a 180 on Pippin after watching this again and playing the video game. Even though
Yeah.
he does the dumb thing, his time at Minas Tirith is actually not too bad. I mean, I think his character changes for the better once all that crap at Minas Tirith starts happening with the Steward of Gondor and Boromir and Faramir. I actually kind of respect Pippin more than Merry at the end of the movie, even though
Yeah.
Merry does another pretty heroic thing by going along with
Hey, he stabs the Witch King in the back.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I like Pippin used to, he throughout the whole trilogy he's kind of been like that character that you're like, oh geez, here we go again. But I think in this one they kind of really turned his character around, and I guess
So-
I said he grew up in the last movie. I think he really did the actual growing up in this movie.
Like
I
said,
watched a
character growth.
video that was like it just came up on my feed, and I watched it. It was about Pippin and how he actually is like the second most important person in the Fellowship besides Frodo.
Yeah.
Like Frodo's
Oh,
number
really?
one. Pippin's number two because everything he does, well, yes, you look at it and go, "Oh, you idiot," ended up like causing. So like because of him, Gandalf became Gandalf the White.
Hmm.
Let's see, what other stupid things did he do? Yeah, it's grabbing the Palantir. Like, made it so they could actually Frodo could get the ring to the Mount Doom because Sauron thought they had it or he had it.
Yeah, and then he also saves Faramir in the end.
Yeah.
And he's actually the reason why Minas Tirith is ready for battle when
he lights the torches.
Orc army comes.
Yeah, he lit the torches. Which,
yeah,
that was the other thing.
Yeah, he also signals Rohan to help them. So
yeah,
yeah,
he does a lot of good things. Like, even the ones that look stupid, and you go, "Oh, why'd you do that?" Like, ended up being good for them. And in the books, he does a lot more as well. Like, he's the one who leads them out of the Shire because he knows that area, but that didn't make it into the movies.
Yeah, and then I mentioned the video game, and Greedy gave me a challenge to do one of the harder levels with Pippin at level 1. And I started out going, uh-oh, this is going to be difficult, but Pippin can kill orcs in 2 hits. I don't know if Greedy knew that or not.
No, I never went back and watched that yet. I didn't know you were actually doing it.
he killed the orcs in like 3 hits and the orcs in 2 hits, and I was like, damn, Pippin.
I have to go back and watch that now.
It was like beast. Yeah, it was like, holy shit. I had an easier time beating that level in 1 go with Pippin than I did with like 5 goes with Legolas or whoever I was using.
Wow.
Way to go, Pippin.
So now we know Pippin's the true hero of the movie.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, no, like I said, I mean, I've done a 180 on Pippin, and I would happily watch that video about Pippin if you'd link it to me.
I will see if I can find it and link it to you. It's not like a long video either. It's like 9 minutes.
Even better.
Yeah. That's part of the reason why I watched it. I was like, well, that's not that long. I'll watch it.
Oh, that's why they bow down to all the hobbits at the end, and not just Frodo and Sam. Which I think there was a hot debate, if I remember correctly. They're like, "Oh, why is Merry and Pippin standing?" But they put their time in.
Well, yeah, Pippin and Merry both deserve to be standing because I mean, Merry helps defeat the Witch King, and Pippin literally saves Minas Tirith. So
yes.
So back to the torch scene though.
Yeah.
He goes and lights the torch. It's great. So I was curious though, like, some of them they show little huts next to it. It's like, oh, these poor people have to live in these little huts. I'm sure they're guards of Gondor. But then there's some just out in the middle of nowhere. It's like, how did they even get here? And there's clearly no huts anymore. They're like on a cliffside.
I made that comment too when I was watching the movie. Like one of the torches was like at the very top of a mountain, and there was definitely like nothing around that. So like, how? Like who lives up there?
It was on top of the snow, which the snow at that point was like several feet above the rock. It's just like, how are they doing this? Who's doing this? How'd they get there?
Magic.
Eagles. Yeah. That's the answer.
Eagles.
They just live up there forever.
It's also crazy how far away Rohan is from Minas Tirith. I mean,
it's like a 3-day journey.
Yeah, it's horse. I didn't realize that because like when you watch, when you see Gandalf and Pippin ride off, I mean they seem to get there in no time in movie time.
So Shadowfax is much faster than regular horses.
Ah, yes, but yeah, it's just it lighting those torches actually gives you a little bit better perspective on how far away these places actually are. I mean, I guess you could look at the map of Middle Earth and be like, that's pretty far away. But seeing it visually with like all the mountain ranges in between and stuff like that, it puts it all into perspective a little bit better.
Yeah. Well, it kind of looks like, from what you see of the torches, like they're actually kind of close together. They're just separated by a big ass mountain range.
Yeah,
it's like they have to go down, around, and up.
Yeah.
Well, in the Lego game, you could just walk there in 5 minutes. What the heck?
Of course. It's the Lego game. Everything they do is right.
Going back to Pippin real quick before we move on. Sure. I do like the bond that Gandalf and him form while they're at Minas Tirith. Because, I mean, even when Gandalf is like, you're coming with me, Pippin, like he doesn't like respect him or anything like that. He's just bringing him along. He tells him to shut up and whatever. And then throughout the Minas Tirith section, like, They do form a bond, and it was very nice to see.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Especially that, I mean, I know I'm getting a little bit far, but especially when, they're hunkering down behind the last, like, door of Minas Tirith, and they have that moment. It was, it was a very, very nice moment.
And we also see Mary form a bond with Erwin. That's her name, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's also nice bonding scenes there. So
Cal,
I wanted
move
to
us
make
on.
like a hard left turn and talk real quick. What do you guys think of the Father of the Year, Denethor?
Dude, that guy pissed me off so much.
Yeah, so angry.
Like, I understand that he loves Boromir, but Faramir's right there, and he literally sends his son to death. And
not only that, but when he comes back alive, he tries to kill him.
yeah, and it's so ridiculous. Like, this dude's such a complete asshole.
Yeah, he wasn't that bad in the book, which they actually go over in that video I was talking about. He definitely did a lot of things wrong, but he was not as like insanely stupid.
It seems to me like he was there was something wrong with him mentally. Like
Yeah,
something was definitely not right upstairs.
Yeah,
definitely.
I mean, he took over that role when the King of Gondor died, so you would think that, I mean, he obviously wasn't prepared to take that role, so I think the power kind of went to his head, and then when he starts realizing that the walls are closing in, that's when he starts to go even more into madness.
Well, I mean, he didn't take the role from the king. His great 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 grandfather did.
Okay, that's where I was wrong. Okay, so obviously there's, okay, so that kind of changes my perspective a little bit.
Mm.
But I mean, so he's been living that life of luxury since he was a kid then.
Yes.
So I would say that he definitely was not prepared for the end of the Middle Age, or the Middle Earth.
And
Yeah,
I think
no.
the thought of Aragorn anytime coming back also drove him nuts too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He hints at that a lot throughout the whole series, actually.
Well, he's only in the third movie.
Well,
He was a little bit on the second.
Yeah, I watched the second movie extended, but yeah, he's in there.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. I forgot.
I forgot to. Even mode. One thing I do, he tries to, kill them, Faramir and himself, and that's a long run to jump off the pathway or the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
How
like,
did he
he's on
survive
fire
such-
for a long time. I
How
know
did he
he's
even
wearing a
survive
heavy
that long?
coat, but I was like, dang.
Yeah, it's more of a spectacle thing than a, realistic thing.
And one of the scenes that like really stood out to me with him is like when he sends out his son and like the rest of the people to down to the river town. What's it called? I'm really bad with names.
Osgiliath?
Asclepius. Yeah, when they're like when all of them are like, getting killed, and then you see flashbacks of him just sitting in his throne room, just eating, just being all disgusting. That whole scene just made me hate him even more, and that was just like a very, to steal one of Yemmy's words, very visceral.
Yeah, I think that was the point.
Yeah.
The thing that I hated is like when Faramir even called him out about it. He's like, "You wish you could trade my life for Boromir," or however he worded it. And he's just like, "Yep." I was like, all right, you're done.
Yeah.
Get him
He's
out.
like, oh, definitely. You
Well, I mean-
suck, son.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's why Faramir ended up going, because he's like, well, if my father doesn't care, then, I'm just going to go throw my life away. He's lucky that the orcs, allowed him. I guess that was part of the, like, scare tactics. They allowed, this son of Gondor to make it back. They probably thought he was dead, but that's besides the point. I mean, yeah.
Was that scene in the theatrical when they threw all their decapitated heads back at them?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
Yeah. I know that a lot of the scenes where he's recovering and meets up with Eowyn, that I believe was not in the theatrical.
No, yeah, none of that stuff is in there. You don't see Faramir again until the ending scene. Well, one of the ending scenes.
Yeah.
They're like holding
He's not even at
hands.
that gate, is he?
No.
Yeah. They don't
No,
even
he's
show
not.
him. They're like, we don't need to see your fighting style.
Well, no, he
I
wasn't
didn't-
fighting.
Yeah, I
was
didn't think he was
recovering.
there because he was. Yeah.
Yeah, he was still recovering.
No, that's what I'm
That's
saying.
how-
It's like the movie was like, hey, you don't need to see his fighting style.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You saw it a little bit in Oscilia, or however you say it.
Osgiliath.
Osciliath.
See, now I'm saying something right, and you're saying it wrong.
Tables have turned.
The turns have
But yeah,
tabled.
How
did.
the
They-
tables turn.
But yeah, so
Or
like you
how
don't
the turn
see
tables. Yeah.
you don't see him and Eowyn like forming this bond. You see him at the end just holding hands, and you're like, okay.
Well, Aelin got turned off after Aragorn said, "You don't have, or I don't have what you seek, or whatever." She's like, "Fine."
Fine, I'll go find another guy. And she did, like 5 minutes later.
Yeah, I'm glad they dealt with that like will he won't he situation pretty early on in the movie because, I mean, you knew the whole time he wasn't going to, but they stretched it out in the Two Towers a little bit too much, and I'm glad that
In
it
the
got
two
solved.
towers, you weren't sure if Eowyn was going to stick around, or not Eowyn, Arwen was going to stick around or leave or die.
Right.
So you could see it a little bit. It's like, well, if I can't be with her, I can be with another person, I guess. He was maybe trying to move on, but then he didn't. As we see in this movie, the movie we're talking about.
Yes.
Any
So we're at that point where we're at like the middle of the movie.
Yep.
Is there anything else you guys want to talk about from the beginning before we talk about the Minas
the
Tirith
Ghost Army?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, just the Ghost Army. I guess that's kind of in the middle.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna bring up next.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Going
that's
into
before the
mountains.
Minas Tirith battle, so yeah.
Go
go
to
ahead.
the camp.
Yeah. Yeah,
Let's
so I
talk-
thought I like that scene a lot when they were like going inside and everything's like creepy and you see the arms coming up and like that whole scene is like a really cool, like the whole vibes of it.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
the design of the King of the Dead. I think they did a great job with him, and all the other minor ghosts in there as well. They all kind of looked really cool too.
Mm.
Yeah, the King of the Dead reminds me of a little bit of Captain Barbossa when he goes all skeleton.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, so that king, that's the titular return of the king then, not Aragorn?
Yeah, exactly. No, wait, no, he was already there. He didn't return. I mean, he returned.
He returned to battle.
He returned to battle. There were several kings returning in this one.
Yes, several, at least 3. So, anything else to say about that?
Actually, I do want to talk about leading up to the forging of the sword. Did you guys think it was a little too much between, Eowyn, like she's gonna die, is she not gonna die, or was it a right amount for you guys, or like that whole scene leading up to Aragorn talking to Elrond, and then them going to the Path of the Dead? Like, was that a slowdown period for you guys, or do you guys just think it was the right amount?
It's fine.
well,
I think.
Yeah, in the theatrical version, I didn't really
theatricals-
mind it too much.
Yeah, I don't think there's as much in the theatrical version. I was about to say, but
Yeah, it was a
Yemmy.
bit slow, but I figured for me it was like, I figured it already that it was probably part of like the extended version.
I mean, it is a pretty important sequence, because she actually
Yeah.
she even tells her father to forge the sword. So, I mean, I feel like if she didn't return from the path she was taking, that sword never would have been reforged, and then Aragorn couldn't have gotten the Army of the Dead to follow him.
Things would have changed.
Things
Yeah,
would have been very different.
Was there like I'm trying to remember? Was there like slow mo at times too during those scenes, like when she drops the book and stuff?
Yeah, I
Uh,
think so.
Yeah, and then he drops the shard of light, which is not in the theatrical. Well, they show the shard of the light, but they don't show why he drops it.
Yeah, I feel like the slow mo was a little bit much in my opinion, but
Yeah.
for the most part, I don't think it was terrible.
Yeah, she drops the book, and then Elrond picks it back up, even though he was walking the other way, and then she drops it, and then all of a sudden he's picking up the book. I was like, oh, okay.
Well, the book dropped in slow motion, but he heard it, so he turned around and had enough time to get back.
Makes sense. Dang,
Yeah,
gravity.
that wasn't a camera trick. That's just how elf books fall, so they don't get
That's
damaged.
how gravity is in
Elbows.
Rivendell?
They explain that in the extended version.
Yeah,
Oh, here
you
we
gotta
go.
watch the extended of all films.
That one's 5 hours long?
20.
Oh, okay. Let
Yeah.
me just call
Not
off
for the faint of heart.
But you know,
Alright.
I always think like it looks really cool whenever we see like Aragorn just talking to the enemy or whatever, and like the ghosts just come up from behind him and like through him, and the whole army just
Yeah.
starts overtaking.
Ah,
I always think,
skipping
like, that's really
ahead.
cool.
It's yeah.
Kind of
Yeah,
talking
just-
about the ghost already.
We're talking about the Ghost Army.
But we're waiting to talk about the battle with Minas Tirith.
No, he's
Well, we
talking
can
about
start
the.
that.
No, okay. never mind.
Well,
When-
yeah,
yeah,
like
when they take the
the
boat.
first thing that happened, yeah, when the boat.
Well, that wasn't the first thing that happened.
Close enough.
That's like
That's
that's
not
like
the
towards
battle.
the end of the battle because the ghosts come and they wreck everything.
I thought you were talking about
No.
the scene where
No,
Aragorn
the first
meets.
scene.
Yeah, when they take the boats before they, not when they come back. With
Oh,
the boats,
okay.
when
So
they
that's
take
not in
the
that's not in the theatrical version.
Oh, I see.
boats. Oh, that's right. Okay.
Oh.
I was confused because I thought you said they get off the boats, and I'm like, that's like the end of Minas
No,
Tirith.
before that, like I mean, the battle kind of is happening, but like it cuts to them stealing the boats in the extended, and they're like, "You and what army?" And then the army just phases through him, and like, "This one."
Yeah,
We-
that's pretty cool.
Going into
Yeah.
this movie, I thought that scene does happen. The scene that we thought we were just talking about, where he's talking to the two-headed orc. I was like, I thought that scene. Like, I remember that scene. I was like, I thought that was in the not that part, but it was the part before. So I was like, huh? That's why it's a good to revisit.
Yeah, no, it's also fun about that scene where they take the boats is we get to see Peter Jackson die again.
Oh, that was Peter Jackson.
Yeah,
Oh,
I believe so.
Wow.
all
I
right.
believe.
All right,
I believe
so now
it
we're
was.
ready. So now we're ready to talk about the battle at Minas Tirith.
So the one other thing, so Minas Morgul, where they kind of reveal the Witch King coming out. What's the point of that ghostly light going to the sky? Was it just signifying the power of the Witch King arriving, or?
So
I
give
assumed it was just like a signal to be like war is coming. I don't know.
give Minister the hey, we're coming to fuck you. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of orcs coming out of that tower too. I feel like that place would have been pretty densely populated if they all were inside there.
Maybe that's
Yeah.
a spawn beacon.
Yeah. But I like that whole scene where Frodo and Sam are climbing up the side of the mountain on that crazy fucking path.
Yeah.
And then just I also like it's kind of like weird like okay. Sam and Frodo are like sleeping on the edge of that giant cliff. And I'm like, what if one of you
Yeah.
rolls over? Like, you're done.
Or Gollum could have easily just put Sam over and been like, "Oh, what happened?"
Yeah.
He must have rolled off in his sleep.
But taking a few steps back, like, how did the Witch King not see them? Like, Witch King knew. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like speculating. Like, I thought the reason why they all started coming out of Minas Morgul is because Frodo was right there. They're like, the ring. And then they all just walked past. I was like, what? What?
Well, they don't really sense the ring until Frodo puts it on.
Yeah, but like the whole time he has it like dangling from his neck, like because he has his shirt unbuttoned, and the ring is dangling as he's climbing up the mountain. I'm like, wouldn't you want to cover that? I don't know. I mean, it could be nitpicking too, but
I don't know. I guess the presence is like completely hidden until he puts it on.
Yeah, I don't know if it's completely hidden because even like during the first movie at Weathertop, the ring wraiths were like reaching for it, even though he didn't have it like completely, or like, yeah. Well, I don't know.
I know what you're saying.
Then my point kind of crumbles because there's that part where the one of the wraiths is looking over the roots,
Yeah.
and Frodo's right there, and it seems like he's gonna find it, but he doesn't. So yeah, I guess the Sauron and the rest of the ring race can't really know. You don't really know where the ring is until someone actually puts it on, because that's like them communicating with Saruman, essentially.
Or Sauron, not Sauron.
I see you.
Sauron.
It is also cool to like see that sort of like climbing up the mountain. They still show like the bridge, and you can still see like orcs marching. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
that's orcs.
Yeah. Well, it kind of puts it like because you thought the Uruk-hai army was big at Helm's Deep. Like the orc army is like even larger.
Yeah.
Well, of course, Minas Tirith is
assume-
also much larger too.
Yeah. I assume that cave or that the City of the Dead also has like a cave behind it. That's where all these orcs were living.
Yeah, you would assume so.
Because
I
that's
mean, it
there's
doesn't-
no way.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me at all. But it was just like the biggest thing that bothered me is them not knowing Frodo was right there, even though White Witch was right there. Not the White Witch, you know what I mean.
Yeah. But yeah, no,
Right.
he hadn't put it on. If he put it on, they immediately would have been like, oh, there he is. Which is why when he puts it on right next to Mount Doom, you suddenly see everyone go, what?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, how sad is
That
it when
jumping ahead.
Frodo tells Sam to go home?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
very
heartbreaking.
It's also like, damn, dude, like just go home. Like, what? He's just gonna walk all the way back by himself? Like, jeez.
And he actually started going down too.
Yeah, he got down pretty far
Hmm.
before confirming what he already knew.
sad. Yeah. And he got back up pretty fast.
Right?
So
power
I don't
of
think he
friendship.
got down. Yeah, I was like, I don't know if he went down as quite as far as you think. Like it made it look like he got down far, but it was only like half a day's journey.
Yeah. Also, Shelob's lair. It's not like at the top of the mountain, so it's not like he has to climb all the way
Yeah.
to the top.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about Shelob later. Do you guys want to talk about the biggest battle in the Lord of the Rings?
Yes.
No, we're talking about
Greatest
Helm's Deep.
battle?
No.
Well, I mean, Helm's Deep is the best battle of the series.
Yes. agreed.
Minas Tirith is a very close second, though. Minas Tirith and
yeah,
the
no,
Pelennor
it was
fields outside of it. It's
Yeah.
it's one of those things. It's like they spend the entire first half of this movie just building up this giant battle, and they delivered. Like your expectations are high, and they delivered. That is a great battle, and it's not like. They cut back and forth between Frodo and Sam a few times, but it's not like in Helm's Deep where they're cutting back to a few different stories because everyone's kind of like globbed together at the same place. So it helps the flow of the battle a little bit more. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. My biggest problem is like the battle before Rohan shows up is just like it's not as exciting or anything. It's just hurling stones at each other.
Well, before Rohan shows up, the orcs break into Minas Tirith, and
Okay, that's true.
It's a little bit of fighting there, yeah, inside the walls.
that scene where the Gondor soldiers are waiting at the gate, and Gandalf's like, "Whatever comes through that door, stand and fight." And then it's 4 trolls barge in, and they just wreck everyone. I'm like, damn, that is such like a cool scene.
Yeah, agreed. Stay and fight. All right, okay, well, stay and die.
Yeah.
I'm gonna run.
It does. I do like how like the battle. Like yeah, they didn't have a chant or anything like they do in the Helm's Deep. I mean, the Helm's Deep start was much more intense. I like how it just kind of started. Orthmog was just like, "All right, release the prisoner. Let's go. Like, let's do this."
Oh yeah,
And then,
when he says release the prisoners, like that's like you're not expecting you're expecting like the Gondor soldiers like walk and still be alive at that point, but it's just their heads in catapults, and that was just so gross.
That was pretty intense. Yeah.
And it's
Apparently,
great,
that is
like-
a tactic ancient warfare would do.
Scare tactic.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's an
Ladies
it's
game for
effective.
Battle from an Earth. It's an upgrade you can get.
actually, you guys probably already know this too, but the Battle of Minas Tirith was based off of the Siege of Constantinople.
I did not.
I did not know that.
Oh, okay. Well, so Constantinople, after the fall of the Roman Empire, like that was like the last, like Emperor Constantine moved the capital of the Roman Empire from Rome to Constantinople. He renamed it. It used to be called whatever. It doesn't matter. And the Ottoman Empire came in and was like, we want this city. You know, it was a big trading city. You know, and it's like there was walls around it, so they tried, you know, ladders and cannons and blah blah blah. So it's loosely based on that battle. There was a point in the Battle of Constantinople where the Ottoman Empire tried to dig under the walls. That didn't work out too well because there was the Romans had hired like a Scottish guy who was good at finding mines. So like he had buckets of water everywhere, and if one started to, you know, move because of the movement under the ground, they would the Romans would dig down and then drop like dynamite or something there and kill all the Ottomans inside there. So it's very loosely based on it, but it wasn't. The Battle of Minister was kind of inspired by the spectacle of the Battle of Constantinople.
Which used to be Istanbul.
That's right, yes.
Istanbul, yeah. Interesting stuff. So, the battle.
The battle.
The battle happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, like I said, it kind of delivers in every way. The buildup is justified for the scale of the fight, and you know, from the get go, it's intense. You know, it's a good watch.
Yeah, definitely.
And you guys, once again, Legolas had the best scene in the first movie, the best scene in the second one, and here we go again. He has the most badass scene in the third one as well. He takes down the
They had to keep it.
giant elephant all by himself, basically.
Yeah.
Well, Peter Jackson does love elves, like, a lot.
It still only counts as one. No, yeah, that's a great scene. And it doesn't look too bad. I mean, even when he's sliding down the trunk, like, you know, it doesn't look too bad.
A couple scenes when he's like,
when the scene started, I commented like, "Oh, here we go. We're gonna break the laws of physics." And then by the end, I was like, you know what? It's not as he didn't break that many laws of physics.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking it was more, but I was just like on the Hobbit.
Yeah, he was standing on the horse's ass. I was just like, all right, he might not be able to stand there like that, but you know, it's fun.
No, there's definitely a couple of scenes where he was climbing up that I couldn't tell. Oh, okay, that's maybe a little bit too much CG use there. I can definitely tell it's fake.
Oh, it was all CG.
For the most, yeah. But yeah, for the most part, I greatly enjoyed that scene. Especially
and
that
then he
lighting
chops
ending.
down the little, I don't know what you want to call it, mountain they stood on for the elephant. Imagine being like the army of the dead, and then all of a sudden this thing just comes down. You're like, hey.
Dude, the army of the dead just coming in and just like sweeping up the elephants you see later on, and then just. I mean, the battle's pretty much over when they show up.
That's the one thing I like about this movie is they didn't focus too much on the army of the dead. I mean, yeah, they're there. You know, they like swept up, but they still showed, you know, like all the heroes still having their action, and, like their moment and their scenes.
Yeah,
it
I
wasn't
didn't notice
just
that.
like, oh, it's army of dead. Okay, bye.
Well, like I said, the army of dead just shows up kind of at the end, and just wipes them. But yeah, you still get like the Witch King being killed and whatnot.
Yeah, the only thing is, I just wish that there was like, I wish that the Witch King was established in like the Two Towers. You know, that's the only thing that because he's such a important character, but he's really doesn't have too much time screen wise in the grand scheme of things. I mean, I think Lurtz has more scenes than the Witch King.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, technically, you know, they.
Yeah, technically he's been in the movie,
yeah.
You know, the trilogy.
You met him
but
before. He stabbed Frodo on Weathertop. It's like, okay, why wasn't he wearing his cool ass crown then?
Yeah, I just wish that he was like wearing all his cool armor for more movies. You know.
Yeah, it's like, why did he suddenly get it now? That doesn't make sense. Explain this to me. Explain it to me like I'm a child.
Yeah,
I guess
also
they just
like
need to up the stakes.
I also like at the end of the battle, Gimli's like, don't release them. You know, they could be you know, we could need them in the future. But Aragorn's a good king. You know, he's a man of his word.
Yeah, they sure could have used them at Mordor.
Yeah.
Right? He
Could've-
could have said like, "Hey, I definitely am gonna release you, but we're not done here. You're not. It's not just defending Gondor now. We need you guys to come in and just kill Sauron."
I mean, can
So
they even?
they could have killed the Witch King too, probably. No man can kill me. Well, I'm a
Yeah,
ghost.
they don't die, right?
Yeah.
They're already dead.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm like, come on, just keep him for a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But,
if he is a man,
I also like how badass Gandalf is in the Battle of Minas Tirith. Because you
Yeah.
see him as like the old white white man, and he's just kicking ass on the tower and stuff and commanding the troops. Like,
yeah,
Gandalf's so cool.
Gandalf is cool.
I wish he didn't break his stick. Like I know they don't in the theatrical
No, they
version. He
don't.
just kind of doesn't have it.
Yeah.
But in the extended, the Witch King breaks.
Did you
his
call
stick.
it a stick?
It's a
Oh,
staff, Greedy.
whatever.
Staff.
He's not a Harry Potter person with a stick.
Ooh, is that a shot at Harry Potter? No.
Yeah.
But
I was gonna
wish
say
they-
the same thing. Yeah, like I wish he would have kept it intact. So because it looks really cool. Like him swinging that thing around and like spinning it and just fighting with it.
And then he has it at the end when they all go see Frodo at Rivendell. He has it again. And you're like, what?
It's a
Well, I mean,
Like, how
replacement
do you-
Yeah, some time has passed. I mean, he could have gotten a new one.
Rivendell.
Or,
from Rivendell. Yeah,
yeah.
I guess.
Well, they were in Gondor, not Rivendell, but
at the end.
No, yeah. At the end, when Frodo's in bed, they're in Rivendell.
I thought that no, they were still in Gondor because they did the celebration afterwards of the crowning and everything.
Maybe they went back.
Yeah, I feel like they're in Rivendell
I
at
don't
that
know.
part because the bed looks very similar to the first movie.
Right? I thought the same thing too, but I was like, but are they in Rivendell or Gondor? I don't know.
I think they're in Rivendell.
From
Let's
Rivendell.
let's put it to a vote.
The Eagles
Wait.
flew straight to Rivendell from there.
I feel like that makes sense because the elves would be able to heal Sam and Frodo
Yeah.
faster than men.
The elves are like, the last thing we do before we leave are going to heal Frodo and Sam, and then we're out. Even though they take Frodo. but-
Aragorn was there, right?
They were all there.
Everyone was
Yeah,
there.
the whole fellowship.
Yeah,
there.
they were.
That was supposed to be the.
Rivendell. If they were in Rivendell, he would have saw Arwen, and he didn't see Arwen till at the coronation.
You found a hole in our story.
I don't. I mean, that room looks. I mean, it looks like Bilbo's room from the first movie. That's the only thing.
Oh, I agree. It does. It doesn't add up if they were in Rivendell. Like,
I
how
don't
did
know.
the others get there if the Eagles took them there? Like,
Well,
I
they
don't know.
rode. I don't know. They rode their horses. Huh? I
They
feel
rode
like
their
It's
I feel like I mean
metaphor,
Frodo was what was it was. I mean, it could have been like a week or so before Frodo was able to get up and move.
Yeah, but they couldn't get there in a week. Look how long it took them just to get to Rohan to Gondor.
Yeah, but now they don't have an army of they don't have Sauron to deal with. They don't got orcs
Yeah.
or Uruk, wargs. They don't have any of that stuff to deal with.
True. I'll look this up.
They just seemed like they were dressed up like they were in Rivendell. I don't know.
Right?
And the
Oh, no,
whole
I thought the
setting,
same-
like
I
the
remember-
mood just
I
felt
thought the same
Rivendell.
thing. Like I was like, oh, those look like the same clothes that Rivendell used. And maybe it's just a medical. Like that's if you're in medical, doesn't matter if you're in Gondor or Rivendell, you get the same gown, just like here in the Americas. You get the same stupid gown.
But that scene is before the crowning, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, Reggie.
Well,
But anyways, yeah, because that's supposed to be like the big, circle is, the fellowship started, and then I thought they were supposed to end there. That's why each one of them come in and no one else comes in, is because it's supposed to be them. Like
Well, yeah,
fellowship.
it's the big reunion of
Yeah.
the group. But anyway, I mean, we skipped ahead a lot.
yeah, we should talk about Shelob now.
Yeah,
You just get
Shelob.
that. Oopsies.
Well, when I was a kid, I was scared of the whole spider scene, but
Rightfully so.
Yeah, I thought. I mean, it's pretty cool nowadays watching it. It still looks pretty good, and I like how they show Frodo losing, Sting, and he loses the light. I like how they show it kind of being stuck, and they do the close up of it, like, oh. Yeah, it's a really cool sequence of events too. Like, he follows Gollum in there, and then he realizes that, he's been tricked, and he starts to freak out, and it's a maze of corridors, and you think he's gonna get it when he's in the spider web, but it comes a little bit later.
So cringe at when he got stabbed with a stinger. I did when I was younger, and still did it today. I was like, oh, jeez,
they made Shelob's stinger. Yeah, they made that stinger really gross.
Yeah. It's got all the goo around it.
All right, so I looked it up. It is the Houses of Healings in Gondor.
Oh, okay.
Well, they bamboozled us.
Yeah, maybe they should have made the beds look so similar.
Yeah,
not only the beds, but like the whole room looked very different.
And like there's like a filter on the camera too that kind of makes it look, I don't know.
Yeah, like that glow. I don't know.
All right, well,
Yeah.
I concede. It's Gondor.
Perfect. That's all I wanted. I'm out. Peace.
Later.
No, but back to Shelob.
So yeah, once again we show that like we see that Frodo just cannot fight at all.
No, he cannot.
Yeah. They definitely showed how much of a badass Sam is, though.
Yeah.
Is a
Sam really
badass.
stepped up.
Sam's been stepping up from day one.
Yeah. Since pruning the bushes in the Shire to stabbing giant spiders in
Well,
Mordor.
it's a very similar thing, actually.
Gardener extraordinaire.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the gardening skills.
Yep. He's probably had to kill a few spiders in his gardening career.
Oh,
True.
true.
Can't let poisonous spiders get into the garden and house.
And of course, he was also
venom.
badass fighting the orcs when he was rescuing Frodo.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
He didn't have to fight too many, though. They all kind of killed each other before he got
yeah.
there.
There was only
But there was
three
still
he
like
had to kill.
3 of them,
Yeah.
though. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there was a few in there, but everyone else was pretty much dead by the time he got there.
Yeah.
Well, it shows that just nobody understands how to fight a hobbit. They're just so small and different. And then it also highlights how bad Frodo is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Sam didn't really kill him. He just kind of like yeeted him off of the stairway.
Which
He
killed
yeeted them.
them.
Yeah, I'll say that. Yeah. I always thought it was pretty silly how the orcs and the Urks just kind of like, obviously they're at, they're evil and whatever, but I always found it silly how they're all just like, Sam just walks in there, la-dee-dee dum dum, they're all just dead,
Well,
Oh, hold on. I do have a
that's what
question though.
happens with an orc brawl.
So when Sam is standing over Frodo's body and he thinks he's dead, like only the face was like barely broken, out of the web. So is that the moment where he took the ring from Frodo?
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
when the orc started coming, he heard him coming. You don't see it, but he, removed a little more of the.
That's more of like the Hollywood bait and switch, You think that the orcs have Frodo with the ring, but Sam actually has it.
Yeah. I will say though, how did Shelob's stinger go through his mithril?
I was under the impression, he has that giant like opening above his chest, like below his throat, where he has the ring sitting in there, and he never tied, made the mithril stuff tighter around that part. So I'm guessing that the stinger went there.
Maybe
Would he
Hey,
wear
in
it,
the
though,
books
in
that
this
probably
movie?
makes sense.
He
but-
doesn't
he was
take off
stung in
the
the
armor
ass.
until the orcs,
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
the
that's
orcs
true.
take the armor from. They find that's what they starts the fight. They find
Yeah.
it.
That's right.
Um,
Yeah.
But it looked like the stinger like went right for his gut in the, in the movie.
maybe it
And I'm
was
just
like, he's wearing that coat over it, so maybe it got like rumpled up a little bit.
No,
Maybe
it makes sense if
maybe
it
he
went
lifted
into
it
his
up
like
for her.
chest.
His sternum.
Yeah. Or maybe she got him in the leg.
Yeah,
Possibly.
I don't know.
Doesn't
I'll
matter
think
where the
about it too
stinger.
hard.
Yeah, I was like, they made it like look like he got hit in the gut because they made him like go ugh, and like gasp forward and stuff.
Got hit right in his manhood.
Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe that
Ouch.
works.
No, you mean his hobbit hood?
Yeah,
His hobbit
that's
head.
true.
Yeah, right in the junk.
Ow. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Ow.
He doesn't have junk anymore.
Nope.
Ah, so that's why he left at the end.
Yeah, he had to heal.
Well, he's jealous that Sam is able to start a family and with Rosie, and he's like, damn it.
We joked about this scene where they're like think they're about to die because the lava's coming down and everything, and he's like, man, I would have married Rosie, and Frodo gives him this look like, I'm right here. I thought we were gonna be a couple.
They got a bromance.
They do have a bromance.
The
And,
deepest of bromances.
I was like, it's probably ended up being one of those things where, Rosie's just like, nah, that's fine. You can have a boyfriend.
On to the final fights.
I was actually
final fight?
Yeah, the Black Gate and the Mount Doom.
Which isn't really a
which
isn't much of a fight. They just
Yeah,
kind of get surrounded and
more.
sit there.
I don't know how it was in the extended edition. I don't remember, but I mean, they didn't really show too much of the Black Gate. They obviously showed like a few glimpses here and there, but it was most of the focus was on Sam, Frodo, and Gollum.
I honestly think the only scene, like I said earlier, was Mouth of Sauron trying to trick that Frodo was dead, and then just him getting his head cut off.
Yes.
Yeah, and then, like I said, then you just see them pour out of the gates, surround them, and they just sit there making noises, and then
they do fight. Aragorn fights the troll, and he gets stepped on.
Oh, okay, you're right. They do. All right.
You get a nice close up of a troll's foot. Never saw that before.
Yeah. Looks good.
But I think the whole ending sequence just with Frodo and Sam is like spectacular. And I've already complimented Gollum so many times in this episode, but I'm going to say it again. Like, Gollum was exceptionally good, especially at the end. Because he's kind of like he just kind of shows up because you see him fall in Shelob's lair, and you kind of know like, he's probably not dead. But he shows up at like the most like uplifting part when Sam is like, I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you, and he just shows up just to fuck things up. It's great.
Like, hey, remember me?
He's like, I know you're having a moment here, but I'm gonna take that ring from you.
I had completely forgotten that he ends up like biting his finger off. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, that's one of the more visceral parts of the movie is when Gollum is just on top of invisible Frodo, and you're like, what the heck is he gonna do? And he just bites the finger off. That's a great moment.
Yeah. So I do. Part of me really wishes. Like, how it happened in the movie is how it happened in the book. Gollum bites his finger off, falls in. But part of me just really wishes, Frodo would have just thrown it in. Like, to get this far and then finally just be like, actually, no.
In my mind, I kind of remember him, like, just throwing Gollum along with the ring. And for some reason, that's how I thought it was going to happen.
Right? I think it would have been better if he had thrown it and then Gollum just jumped in after it. He was like, I'll get it. And then dies because he's an idiot. But I don't know. It just felt a little like the whole point is like hobbits are stronger than men, and and then it comes down to it. They're like, no, not really.
Well, I mean, through the whole trilogy, I mean, Boromir gets possessed by the ring real quickly.
Faramir they are stronger than men.
They get through the entire journey up until that last point. I feel like it's reasonable because they've even shown it through Two Towers and Return of the King, like Frodo is growing more and more fond of the ring as it goes on, and in the third movie he's doing things that Gollum did, to it, where he's running his fingers along it and stuff like that, being very overprotective.
Yeah. Oh, I
And
know.
even
They definitely
stronger than the elves too.
like that. It makes sense. It's just personally, I was just like, it just would have been nice if he
First-
just
yeah.
went.
I mean,
Even
you
if-
don't want Frodo to be, the butt face of the end of the movie, but he's kind of
Yeah.
got to be for that truly epic ending.
Yes.
Because in the end, he does let go of the ring, by
Yeah,
allowing.
no, he hasn't bitten off him.
No, but at the end he is struggling with Gollum, and in order to save his own life, he lets Gollum go
Hmm.
because they're hanging off the edge of the I don't know, what do you call it, island,
Precipice.
yeah,
Island.
in the middle, and
Sure.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
It kinda looked like-
if he was as obsessed with the ring as Gollum, he would have jumped in there with Gollum to try and get the ring, right? But instead, he grabs onto the edge and saves his own life instead of trying to save the ring's life.
Yeah.
Life, quote unquote.
Well, he did think about dropping down, and then Sam was like, "Don't you do it." Not
Well,
like
he
that.
thought that at that point he thought about saving Sam,
Yeah.
right?
He wasn't
Because
trying to
the
go
whole
after
place
the
was
ring at
falling
that
down.
point.
Yeah, he was like, you know what? At least if I fall, Sam can get out of here alive. But the end it ends up being being happy.
And then he leaves Sam anyways at the end of the movie, so it doesn't.
Well, it's
after
it's
4 years.
Yeah, it's 4 years after.
I got 4 years together.
I also like how, I mean, skipping ahead, I do like how he gives the book to Sam. It's like, well, what's Sam gonna write in this? Like I was fucking Rosie, and we had two. Like, okay, you got the there and back again, A Hobbit's Tale, Return, the Lord of the Rings, and then Sam's just like the gardener.
The gardener. His
Hey,
gardener.
the gardener does a lot of stuff, okay? He's the first assassin to ever exist. Okay, that's not true. We have other assassins. He's the first James Bond. There we go.
But yeah, anything else you guys want to say about Mount Doom?
No,
Well, Mount Doom is where the whole... wait, is the movie over? No, starts.
Yeah, there's like so many moments where like I thought that's where it was going to end, but
I do have a
no, I'm
question.
glad it
'cause
continues.
Mordor was marching out again. Like, where were they going? Because they weren't going to meet. They didn't know that. Or maybe they did.
They
That
went to meet
men were
Aragorn.
coming.
Yeah.
Did they know they were coming?
Well, Saruman. Well, yeah, because yeah, they knew.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought like
Well,
they were
except-
planning on going to march somewhere.
They were the
I mean,
distraction.
first they were going to Gondor, and then when they lost to Gondor, they were kind of holding up until Aragorn said, "By the way, I'm here."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Okay, go get that fucker."
Okay, yeah, that's right. Because Gandalf does say they're preparing, or no, Gimli says it that they're preparing again.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got to go.
It's such a big army. They couldn't send all of them at once to Gondor.
I guess.
They sent a good amount, but not enough
They did.
apparently.
And this
Also,
is actually backtracking. I wish they showed the retaking of Osgiliath a little bit.
I don't know if that's like super important. I have a question. What happened to the Easterlings? Like we see the elephants, but that's we don't see like the actual soldiers of the South. Because in the Two Towers, you see the entire army of the Easterlings go inside the Black Gate, and then you never see them again.
I assume they're just mixed in with the orcs.
But you would definitely notice them. I mean, they had like gold armor and the red, maroon, stuff.
Well, a lot of them were riding the elephants.
Yeah, that's what
They were all
Well,
just
those
killed easily.
aren't the same. Easterlings and I think they're it starts with an
Harad.
H. Whatever the
Yeah, I
riders
know
and the
what you're
elephants are actually a different faction, both from the
okay.
south. But Easterlings, they
Haradrim.
marched into the Black Gate in the Two Towers, and
Haradrim.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I remember the ones you're talking about.
those
ones that
those
look
guys no,
newer.
they don't show up again. It's kind of weird. Because I was under the impression that they showed up at the fields again, because in every single video game for Lord of the Rings, the Easterlings are there at the fields, but in the
Yeah.
movie they're not there. It's just the
That's just
elephants.
they just forgot about them.
Yeah, I
Or
think
like I said, they're
so.
just kind of mixed in with the orcs.
But like I said, like if they were mixed in with orcs, you would definitely notice them because they have like
Well,
the
like
gold armor and stuff.
they're so mixed in that you only get to see them from a distance, so they're just like a black blob.
Okay, sure.
That's the only thing I can think
I
of.
would
Is
I would have
maybe-
liked to see them also at the fields in front of Minas
I
Tirith. I think
agree.
that would have
I
been a
agree
good
with
place to kind of incorporate them and be like, and there they are, and there they're dead.
Maybe when they went through the Black Gates, they were given new armor, or maybe they were turned into orcs.
Well,
Yeah, I'm about
let's
to say
go with
maybe they
that,
were like used to like create orcs. I don't know.
yeah. I mean,
We need to watch the extended version to figure all this
Yeah.
out.
You need to watch it
I didn't
right
get
there.
that. I didn't get that far in the extended version, so they probably were turned into orcs, because that's kind of how orcs are made.
I mean, I was under the impression that they were great fighters. Why
Yeah.
aren't they used like the wild men, the corsairs or whatever they were called? Why aren't they use them for the orc fodder? They didn't seem to be that well put together.
They probably did.
Yeah, maybe they did. Who knows?
And that's why you have some orcs who are really cool and strong and good, and some orcs that look just scrawny and stupid.
I guess the main point is I would have liked to see Easterlings again, because they looked really cool in the Two Towers. It's unfortunate they
with
just
that.
kind of forgot that they had walked in there.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
agree.
Which ending do you
So, yeah,
guys want to talk about first?
So the first one's actually the one that bugs me the most. Is like you see him on the rock, it fades to black, and then you think, okay, like this is not how it ends. They're going to fade to something different, and then they just fade right back to the exact same scene.
Yeah.
Well,
Like
maybe that's
again, it was
different
to
angle.
show, well, slightly different angle. It was to show that time had passed, but I feel like it should have maybe then cut to somebody else and then back to them. I don't know. It just seemed weird to fade out and then fade back into pretty much the same scene.
Yeah, it's an odd choice for sure.
Yeah, that's the one that bugs me the most.
They just wanted to like amplify that they were gonna, or not imply that they were probably gonna die or something. That was the end of their journey. They wanted
Yeah.
to just drag that out as much as possible.
Imagine if the credits
Yeah.
had rolled there.
That would have been great.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I think the best ending, which might be the actual ending. Well, no, because
When-
Sam comes back. I think the best ending is when they
Yeah.
take Bilbo and Elrond and Gandalf and Frodo and they go on the ship
Yeah.
and they leave. I think that is like that would have been the best place to end it. I mean, we didn't
Yes,
need like the
agree.
extra exposition for Sam, because I mean that's a very emotional scene, especially because I forgot that Frodo gets on the ship at the end of it all. So like,
Dude, I actually got teary eyed.
Tear up a little
Yeah.
bit.
yeah,
That
I
was
mean
very
Bilbo.
emotional.
I mean, Bilbo. I love how he needs help that whole way, and as soon as Gandalf's like, Bilbo, come on, he's like, oh, I'm ready for another adventure, and he just gets up and I love that scene.
But I also love the scene before it when like everyone bowed down to the hobbits. Like when that happened, like my entire body was kind of like overcome with joy. I can't even explain it. Like, I thought that
You
was
bow
like
to no man, for you are now gods.
Well, Gandalf proved that hobbits are important. I mean, through the unexpected journey and through this trilogy,
Yeah,
Hobbit's the most important character.
mm.
they do more than you think. But
So
I agree. That's
okay, here's a question
the
for
best
Tay: Are the hobbits
Yes.
descendants of the river people, or
Yes, I believe so. I don't know if it's ever. I assume so. I should say. I assume so. I don't know for sure. And the river folk I saw a thing. I don't know if it's true, but like halflings came about. They're halflings, so they are half man, half something else.
Ah, so some river folk got funky with some elves.
Mingled.
Yeah.
Lots of mingling was done.
Okay,
So
yeah,
that might be.
because I was wondering how old Gollum is if evolution had taken place and the river folk turned into the hobbits. But if they just did some mingling in between, it makes more sense.
Well, you have to
True.
imagine that happened. Gollum found the ring probably towards the beginning of the Second Age, or no, Third Age. The Third Age, because end of Second Age is when they killed Sauron the first time, or is that the end of the First Age? I can't remember now. I can't. But either way, it's been thousands of years.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to the Gondor scene. I kind of wish that we had more of like a conclusion for Gimli, Legolas.
Yeah.
I feel like
'Cause, yeah, like did Legolas go to the Undying Lands as well, since he was an
Yeah,
elf?
so I actually did a little Google searching because I was like, I honestly forgot where everyone went because when I watched it when younger, I was like, just a battle and turned it off.
yeah.
So they do go to Undying Lands. I think it's 4 years after Aragon dies. They're like, well, let's go, and then they
Oh, okay, that's much later.
Legolas ends up building. He rebuilds Iliath or the Iliathan or whatever it's called, the Elven city. He rebuilds it after the war battle damage, and then Aragorn dies, and then Gimli and Legolas both go Undying Land.
Oh, nice.
The end.
Do all the dwarves
Together?
go, or does just Gimli go?
Just Gimli.
Oh yeah, of course together.
Because the dwarves are still not welcome, and Gimli was a special gift to go in.
That makes sense. Well, I mean, it's Legolas's boyfriend, so of course.
No, that's cool. That's cool to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah,
nice.
because I was
Yeah, 'cause
thinking
we had that
as well.
conversation. Me and my wife were like, "Wait, did Legolas and Gimli go?" Or
They stuck
Yeah,
they
'cause-
stuck it out with Aragorn, and then they were like, let's go. Middle Earth
Yeah,
is
'cause-
boring now.
Yeah, Erwin goes as well after Aragorn dies.
Mm.
Oh, she doesn't stay with their son.
which
Nah.
I'm surprised they did because Elrond and everyone made it sound like these are the last boats. Nope, you can't go after this.
Well, that's what I said. Legolas actually literally built his own, according
Yeah.
to Google.
Gotcha.
Does
All right,
anyone else
let's-
have any closing thoughts?
Let's jump into a 20-minute conversation about Sam's official ending. No, I thought that the final part with Sam was just a little bit like the best part. The end would have been at the end when Frodo leaves. I don't feel like they really needed to show Sam walking back home. Going into the Shire and hugging his children and closing the door.
yeah.
I just
Awkwardly going through the door.
yeah.
One thing
I feel like like if there was another trilogy of books after this regarding Sam and his adventure, like then it's like, okay, close the door on Sam's house and then the next trilogy is Sam, but there's no other trilogy after the Lord of the Rings, so
I don't know. I
Unfortunately.
feel like they did need to like give him some sort of closure. With Frodo leaving, they had to like
but I mean
give him like another happy ending, like still after that sadness.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess to leave people a little bit more happy, but it's like
Yeah.
I don't know, because it's such a quick scene too.
I wonder if everyone jokes like, "Oh, look at all these different endings." I wonder if Peter Jackson ended things there, and then test audiences were like, "What? No, you can't end it there." So he's like, "Fine, tag on this. No, you can't end it here." Okay, here you go. He just kept going until they were like, "Okay, that's a good place to end it."
Yeah.
One scene that I do like, and this is back stepping a little bit, is when all the hobbits go back to the Shire, and everyone at the Shire is clueless because the Shire is so isolated from the whole world, and they probably didn't know that the Battle Helm's Deep happened or
Yeah, everyone's still giving them the stink eye.
everyone's still cheering. They're all sitting there, and the four of them are kind of sitting there we're supposed to be heroes here, and everyone's like, yeah, buddy, and then Sam decides to get up and it's like, I'm gonna go marry her.
Well, I
So
mean,
I thought that was a good scene, I guess.
No, yeah, I agree. It's a great scene, and
Although,
I guess it also
I mean,
kind of shows like because Bilbo is kind of like a legend there for telling his stories, but I mean, you wonder if anyone actually even believes the stories he tells because everyone's so isolated there.
Mhm.
yeah. Well, in the books, I'm going to be that guy again.
Okay.
You get the Scourge of the Shire. So when they get home, Shire is not good.
Really?
Because Saruman and Wormtail showed up and have taken over the Shire and are like putting the hobbits to slave labor and such. And then
that would have been
that,
interesting.
yeah, Peter Jackson apparently hated that ending, so that's why he did not include it. But yeah,
Yeah,
so
that sounds pretty dark.
Yeah, I don't
yeah, no,
mind
in
the
the
way
book,
that they went with it. I also think that
no, I
would have
don't
added
either.
like another hour of the
Yeah,
to the
Another
movie.
whole movie.
Yeah, it could have been another whole
pretty
movie in
much.
itself. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty quick in the books. Like they show up and they're like, "Oh crap!" and then they find out it's Wormtongue and Saruman, and they like run them off. I think they do kill Grima.
Rip.
I know. I think that's where Grima kills Sauron, and then
Saruman.
Merry or Pippin kills Grima.
Oh.
Well, I guess I like that change than that Peter Jackson did. I like how they go back to the Shire and it's like, oh,
Nobody
I don't even
knows.
remember there being hooded men on horses killing people.
Yeah.
And that happened in outside, like just outside
Bree.
the Shire.
Yeah, but still, it's like I don't even remember
Yeah.
hearing anything about that. Like that also shows how isolated they are if they didn't even hear about that happening.
Yeah, I mean they may have heard about that, but it was just like, well,
They probably
this
don't
is
even
why
care.
you don't leave. Yeah, this is why you don't leave the Shire.
It's second breakfast. Give me a few minutes here. I'll hear your story later.
Yeah.
And that was such a not like an emotional scene, but like a touchy scene, I guess. Because it did look like on their faces they wanted to be like the kings and of the Shire, but
I think it was more so like they had gone through the ringer and they just couldn't feel at home in the Shire anymore. Like all those people were
Yeah,
very
that's how I
naive to the
feel.
outside world and they had experienced everything they experienced. I felt like maybe it was a little bit more of like maybe resentment for how naive the people of the Shire are.
like how they're not getting the attention they wanted.
Well, I don't think they wanted attention. I just think that that you go back to that situation where everyone's partying and dancing, and you've gone
Nothing
through.
happened.
Yeah, you've gone through you've gone through hell, and you just can't enjoy it in the same way anymore.
Yeah, the way I looked at it, they were kind of like, oh my gosh, look at these people.
They're oblivious.
Yeah, they're just oblivious. Believe it. And then like at the end, there's like, whatever. We're back. This is how things are. And they start.
Did they
their
ever
drink.
show Merry and Pippin again? Like after we saw Sam standing up towards going to Roycey?
No,
Did they ever show him there?
Well, we saw them they were at the harbor.
yeah,
Mm.
but they they weren't seen again after that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like they should have edited yet another ending to see what they were up to.
Well, then they should have added another ending so we could have seen what Gimli and Legolas are up to.
Yeah, just add more.
And,
We
and
need
then
more.
add another ending showing what happened to Mordor after everything happened.
Mordor
The
needs
way
that
I
closure
look-
Can we get a scene of Lurtz's dead body in the forest too? Like, what's he up to?
The way I look at it, the way I look at it is once Mordor is gone, the orcs like turn a new leaf, and that's how you get like in D&D you can play as an orc and stuff. It's like some of the orcs went, oh, we'll just join society.
Yeah. Well, even in
not
like
being-
the Shadow of Mordor game and Shadow of War, the Mordor starts turning green again after Sauron's defeat, but there's still factions of orcs who are, angry.
For sure.
It's cool
I
to
mean,
kind of
even in
travel around
D&D,
that.
you can run into evil orcs and stuff, but you can run into good orcs because
Yeah,
they're just like, you know what? I'm not being enslaved anymore. I have chosen to be awesome.
I've chosen to be a mage.
Yeah.
That's right. When they show the ring being thrown in, and then all the orcs kind of falling into the endless pit. They didn't show Minas Morgul or Isengard. I was like,
Well, The pit was only like encompassing Mordor. It stopped after the Black Gate, so it's
Yeah,
not like every
yeah,
single orc was thrown into a pit.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
some of the orcs ran away.
And the troll.
Yeah, the troll was the first to go. He knew what was up. He was like, "Fuck this, I'm out." He immediately had a change of heart. Here's another scene they could have added. That troll that runs away from Aragorn goes into the mines of Moria to meet his cousin, and his cousin's dead.
Oh.
Oh wow.
And so he has a Gimli-like scene where he's like, "No."
Anyways, back to the ending.
Wait,
Well, we
how
are
was
talking. That is
troll
the
out?
ending.
It was,
We are talking about the ending.
no, I guess it's always kind of dark in Mordor, so the trolls can live out in the day.
It doesn't. I mean, it doesn't seem too dark all the time because even when like the Black
doesn't.
Gate's there, it's pretty bright.
Yeah, and that's why I'm just like, how did that troll not turn to stone?
Well, I always forget about that because you see tons of trolls and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not really that dark out, and you kind of forget that they do turn into stone until you watch, or The Hobbit comes along.
Yeah.
You reread that or rewatch those movies, and you're like, oh yeah, they do turn the stone into light. What the heck?
Right. Well, the extended version of Fellowship, you actually see the statues of the trolls. If I remember right.
No, that's in the theatrical too. They're just kind of in the background during one of the scenes.
Oh, okay.
They don't
Well,
really
like, they-
focus on it.
Yeah, they're in the back, but in the extended, they actually kind of like Sam has a line about it. It's like, look, it's Mr. Bilbo's trolls.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they don't mention it in the theatrical cut. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the ending.
Which ending?
Yeah. No, I think I mean,
I think
anyone
we're good
else?
for our closing thoughts right now, right?
Yeah. Is there anything else anyone wants to mention before we do that?
I think I'm good.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
guys.
good.
All right, Cal, so lead us off with our final thoughts and rating.
All right, so yeah, not much else to say. We finally did it. We watched the entire trilogy unplanned, but it worked out pretty good. And yeah, this epic conclusion. Loved every minute of it. I once again watched the extended version, and I almost had to split it up into like 3 different parts just because the difficulties of getting my family together to watch. It's pretty crazy. It's how it's like 4 hours long. But I found it like very enjoyable all the way through. And once again, just everything about this movie is great. The cinematography, the action, everything just blends together so well. All the characters, the interactions, the growth. Yeah, I have no choice but to once again give this final Lord of the Rings movie a 5 out of 5.
Deal.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's an epic conclusion to an epic trilogy, and watching the movies in such close proximity to each other, you kind of like the scope of it all comes into view, and you're like, it starts out with this tight knit fellowship. It's all like it's got an upbeat, and then it kind of like progresses into the Return of the King stuff, and it's really interesting to watch it as an adult now instead of just being like a kid and excited for the big battles and stuff like that. It's cool to go back and appreciate the other things more. And I'm not judging it off of the extended version, but I do think the extended version adds some things that, like, Saruman's death and stuff, that I just wasn't a big fan of. But there are other things that it adds that really enhance the experience. But the theatrical version I think is perfect the way it is. It's got a good pace to it. It kind of covers all the points that you need to have in the movie. Minas Tirith, the whole battle is really cool. I do like that. Not as good as Helm Deep, obviously, but it's a good second in the trilogy, as in terms of battles. And like I said over and over again, I mean, Gollum and Andy Serkis's performance is just amazing. If this whole movie was just Frodo, Sam, and Gollum, I think it still would be a 5 out of 5. But since there's the rest of the movie attached to it, it is a 5 out of 5 for sure from me.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree with everything you guys say, and they just don't make movies like this anymore, where you're just like you have that one set scene. You're like, oh, you have to watch it because of this, or you had to watch this movie because of that. And these, even back in 2000s, these movies came out a year apart. So even then, it's still refreshed in your head. Even though nowadays in 2022, you're waiting, like 5-6 years. It feels like for the next Marvel movie. It's not that long. I exaggerated. But it's still cool to have these movies come out a year apart because you still don't forget them like that far. You're like, oh yeah, okay, if you're a big fan of the series back then. I agree with what Yemmy said. Is watching it younger, I was all about the battle scenes, and it's cool to rewatch it as an adult and be like, okay, this makes sense, and putting the minor pieces together instead of like just being younger and just be like, oh, I want to see the Army of the Dead because I think it's cool. I'm also, of course, gonna give it a 5 out of 5. The whole trilogy, 5 out of 5. Fantastic.
All right. Well, for me, I don't have much more to add that hasn't already been said. So I give it a 1 out of 5.
Nah.
No, of course, I give it a 5 out of 5 as well.
You're gonna mess up Cal's spreadsheet.
Come on.
Good. No, I definitely give it 5 out of 5. Everything we've talked about, cinematography, music, acting, everything is just amazing.
We didn't really mention anything about the music this time around.
Yeah, no, really.
The music was still good.
Yep.
Enough said.
Yeah, no, it's like at this point, most of the music I feel like was just kind of remixes of the previous songs we've heard. I think Gondor may have gotten a new song. I don't know. Wasn't as memorable as Rohan's song, but
It's still in there.
But it's still in, and we still got the Rohan songs. So yeah,
Still good singing by Pippin.
Yeah.
Or yeah, Pippin.
Definitely a 5 out of 5 for me as well.
All right.
Down to the house. No, I'm kidding.
We could. Maybe in the future. Who knows? All right. So the fan vote was, of course, during Tay's recommendation. And the winner has been chosen. Drum roll, please. No, you don't have to. So the winner was Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and that's clowns spelled with a K. This was recommended by a retro fellow, a.k.a. fellow, who is game to record with us if we do it on the normal day. So hopefully he'll be able to squeeze us into his schedule.
Nice.
So this movie came out in 1988. It was directed by Stephen Chiodo. I think that's how you pronounce it. It is available on Amazon. I have it on DVD. And the synopsis is: aliens who look like clowns come from outer space and terrorize a small town. And the movie stars a whole slew of people. I'll just go through the main cast here. Grant Kramer, Suzanne Snyder, Josh Allen Nelson, John Vernon, Royal Dano, and Christopher Titus, to name a few. So the one key thing about this movie is I was terrified of this movie as a kid because my father had me watch it when I was a kid. On a rewatch that I did recently, well, I guess I won't spoil anything. So, yeah, I was terrified of this movie when I was a kid, and
It's not terrifying now.
Yeah.
I'll say I watched it in, I think, either 2018 or 2019 was the last time I watched it, or first time I watched it. So this will be, I guess, fun to revisit.
Titus is the only name I recognize.
Yeah, Christopher Titus.
I just
Never
watched
seen
it
this.
of Halloween last year, so.
Oh.
Wow. So I'm the only one that hasn't seen it then?
Yep, you're the only one.
I think so.
Yeah, I actually watched it last Halloween too.
Yeah, so enjoy.
But I'm gonna watch it again and have a fun time with it again. But yeah, if you don't want to be spoiled for Killer Clowns from Outer Space, make sure you watch it before the next episode airs in about 2 weeks.
Good job.
Sounds
And you guys can do the sigh of relief. Transformers did not win this year. This week.
At this point, we should just remove it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's had its chance. Let's put it to rest.
Had its chance several times.
All right. Does anyone else have anything they want to mention before we end the show?
Nope.
Oh wait, yes. So I looked
Here
it
we
up,
go.
and Andy Serkis did not win an Emmy for Gollum, but he did win several awards for Gollum.
Oh yeah, he won Film Critics Award.
Yeah, so like he won like 5 or 6 different awards for
Well, it
it,
wouldn't
but
be an
not
Emmy.
an
It'd
Emmy
be an Oscar, right?
or Oscar. Yeah, he didn't win an Oscar. Sorry. Yeah,
I know he did win one for like Planet of the Apes down the road. I think.
I think he did. You're right, but not for Gollum.
But he deserved.
but
I mean, he did good in those movies, but he definitely deserved one for at least The Return of the King. Like Jesus.
yeah, nope. He won several awards, like I said, but not an Oscar.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
and the thing is,
what's done is
because
done.
he was, yeah, it was like because Elijah Wood won like Best Actor, so I think that was basically the only because Elijah or Orlando Bloom won like whatever Best Breakout Role or something. It's like I should have definitely gone to Andy Serkis.
Well, anyway,
Anyways, yeah, that can all be cut out if you want.
no, I only cut things if I don't even I
If
don't
if
really
they're
cut.
like really bad screwed up.
Well, sometimes I don't even remember to cut those things. I'll be scrolling through it and I'll miss it, and I'll be like, and I'll be re-listening to it in like my car, and I'll be like, oh shit.
Oh wow.
But
Yeah,
that's just the charm of the podcast. You know, we're human beings.
Human beings.
yeah.
All right,
All
guys.
right.
Well, I am Yemmy the Ferret, and I've been here with,
Greedy waffle.
Taymation.
And Kalas.
and we are Film Freaks with a Z. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Clean your ass.
Bye.
You have my ass. And
Yeah.
my clean.
And my toilet scrubber.
And my toilet paper.